Nicole, thank you very much. And this morning we're checking in with the Washington Policy Center, Chris Cargill this morning. We're talking specifically about a proposal that's coming up. And as you know, Spokane Transit is putting together a ballot measure before voters in April. And parts of the plan is an STA trolley that would go through downtown Spokane. You guys are not making official recommendations, but you've done a lot of investigating. Explain to the viewers at home what exactly you've looked into.
Yeah, specifically on the trolley side of this. So the STA moving forward proposal is about a $300 million moving forward plan. The centerpiece of that plan, according to STA, is this electric trolley proposal, which is a 12-mile long, or excuse me, a $12 million, 6-mile long trolley that would go downtown from Brown's Addition through downtown, through the neighborhood of the University District, and then all the way over to SCC. The cost of this, of course, is about $12 million a mile to build this thing. The overall cost is about $72 million when you do the math of 6 times 12. So it's a pretty expensive proposition to be putting this forward.
Now, when we talk about the cost, that's really just to build it.
Right.
And I'm sure we don't know the extent of this at this point, but there must be a run cost then as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The operational costs. So you've got the cost to build it, which is about $72 million. Then you have your operational costs, which are about $4.1 million a year to operate it. Now, STA is predicting that they'll have about 880,000 trips per year on this thing. I think that's a pretty optimistic prediction. Okay. But let's just say that's correct. You're looking at a cost per trip of about $4.70. And a typical STA bus is about $3.92. So you're looking at about 20% difference in terms of the cost to move people from that point A to point B on the trolley versus just your typical STA bus. So that is something that people ought to keep in mind as well.
Last year, January, around this time, we ended up speaking to a lot of people, businesses along the proposed route, and they were incredibly excited about this process. So the proponents are saying, yes, of course, we'd love something like this, but you're saying what about the benefit versus the downside?
Right, and there certainly is an economic development argument that's made along these lines. So you build this line and you're going to have a bunch of economic development. That's the argument that's out there. Unfortunately, what we've seen is that the research doesn't bear that out, with the exception of places that have offered some sort of taxpayer subsidy or different incentives for builders to locate along the route. Portland is a perfect example of that. They built the streetcar system in Portland. They've had to put about $1 billion into subsidies to convince economic development along the route. So they certainly have had some economic development along the route. It's just the problem is taxpayers had to pay for that as well. So you've got your $72 million cost to build it, you got your $4.1 million cost a year to operate it, and then whatever cost you're going to have in terms of offering subsidies to try to convince developers or economic development along the line. So that's a pretty big bill for taxpayers.
The ballot proposal is coming up in April. You all, Washington Policy Center, is having a forum coming up. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, on March 31st at the Davenport Hotel, we're going to be looking at the cost, the case, and the concern for this proposal. And we're going to be bringing in Randall O'Toole with the Cato Institute to talk about this particular proposal and about these type of trolley systems and these type of mass transit systems all across the country. So it's a good opportunity for people to come and learn more about the trolley proposal. We're not taking a position on the overall ballot measure. We're just presenting our research to the community on the trolley idea.
Chris Cargill with the Washington Policy Center. Yes.